Well, Jim, as you were saying that, I was patching us into Bolin Manor, and I believe we have the Star Maker on the line right now.
I think I hear him already, ladies and gentlemen, for whatever unknown reason. But for those of you who like this kind of thing, this is the kind of thing you're going to like. From the new Bolin Manor, Kenny, Star Maker Bolin. Kenny, what's up?
Oh, we've got Bolin Manor set up, looking better than ever before. We got multiple microphones. We got new mixers. We got all kinds of new advanced audio technology over here to make me sound even bigger and better than I've ever sounded on your show before. How am I coming through today, little Jimmy?
I don't know if you could sound bigger, but you do sound a little better.
Well, that's the intention of the new equipment. So, yeah, we're making some improvements over here.
So basically now you're going to be selling this new audio equipment. Is that what the purpose of your call is here today?
Well, we're going to add that to the list of things. I mean, it's not fair for me to have an ultimate advantage over all the other podcasts. We'll give them a chance to play on an even playing field. And I've offered you that opportunity. I've offered you the microphones at a seduced rate over what the normal common folk would pay. And you've still passed on it. You're cool with using your little $19 headset over there and your little $4 microphone. And so you can lay on the floor and play with your dog. And you seem to be happy with that. But my dog gets no attention. Well, I guess the dog does sit on my lap during the show a lot. And then for the video shows, and I'm sure Brian Lash has seen this, you've seen Cow and Chocodile sit in with me on the shows, and they become the stars of the shows because they're such little darlings. And you could do the same thing too, Jimmy. If you had video, you and Harley Quinn could sit there at your little desk that you sit at, and Harley could kind of steal the show for you, maybe even help the ratings even, well, I'd start to say more than I do, but let's not get carried away with that.
That would be impossible.
That would be.
And by the way, your first month's check on the YouTube royalties will be going out shortly. Of course,
I've been kind of wondering about that.
But here's the thing. Now, YouTube has been anti wrestling.
They have
lately, and they're even more anti Bolin. Since you've been on the air, they've decided to quit breathing it.
Wait a minute. I mean, who's more anti-wrestling?
We're actually having to pay $4.97 every time you're on the air.
Every time I'm on, huh?
Yeah.
Well, who's more anti-wrestling than me and you? We got nothing to do with wrestling. We're entertainment. We're religion. We're politics. We're current events. How often do we really talk about wrestling? You can't label us with that.
As little as possible, and as we've already done on the program so far before we brought you on, there's less wrestling than ever to talk about these days.
Well, fantastic, because today, I don't know if it's exactly wrestling I'm going to talk about, because, of course, you probably heard rumors going around that I have a huge announcement I'm going to make today, an exclusive on your show. Now, why I'm not saving it for mine, that might make itself clear at a little later in the show.
You want people to hear it.
I've chosen.
You got a big announcement you want people to hear. That's why you're doing it on my show instead of yours.
I guess if I'm not going to announce it on mine, yours is the next best choice. I'll grant you that. So, or I could go to Bruce Pritchard's show and let his 6 million people listen to me, but we've opted not to do that. We're going to stick right here with your show and try and help your show out. But And really all I had planned to do today was to make my big announcement. But you know me, Jimmy, I love ambushes. I love to catch you when you're off guard, and I love to just see how you're going to respond when a question comes your way that hadn't quite been thrown yet. So before we get into my huge announcement, I want to talk to you about a table of 3, Jimmy. Do you realize you hold a record now? You got a record. I hope you're proud of it. The shortest ever table of 3 in the history of the WWE Network. You own it. What were you on? About 8 minutes?
We've talked about that. It was heavily edited with me, Michael Hayes, and Eric Bischoff. They didn't show a lot of it.
And that leads me to ask, why was it so heavily edited? I mean, this wasn't one of, and I'll grant you, it was one of the most anticipated table of 3s of all time. I can't think of a show, and even I wanted to see.
I don't know. Actually, I've never seen another one. So, Brian, do you know how long are the programs normally?
I don't know. I've never watched any of these.
Well, I'll tell you, they're about an hour to an hour and a half, to quote my good friend, Handsome Jimmy Valiant. They're about 60 to 90 minutes.
I've not heard that.
I don't know.
So I'm thinking that, hey, Jimmy Cornette, Eric Bischoff, and Doc Hendricks, let's face it, the weak link of the 3. I'm thinking this thing's going to go about 3 hours. They ain't going to be able to shut Jimmy up. They probably ain't going to be able to shut Bischoff up, and Hayes can do whatever he can. Well, so I'm sitting there, and about 18 minutes into the show, they're wrapping up. So I'm figuring, what did you say, Jimmy? Who did you alienate? Who did you insult? What all did you say that they decided they couldn't air? Because you admitted they shot maybe 2 or 3 hours worth of footage, and they aired 18 minutes of it. And I want straight out of your mouth to me, your best friend in the whole goddamn wide world, I want to know what you said that they couldn't air.
I have no idea. We talked about a lot of things, and they clipped some things out, but there was no profanity involved, so I have no idea. I don't know.
Well, I've been embarrassed a lot recently. I've been embarrassed on my own show, which we're going to talk about that maybe here in a little bit.
I wish you'd get to it.
I've been embarrassed by family members that I no longer associate with. I went on Facebook and I deleted 27 of them.
Wait a minute. I thought you were back at Biscuits and Gravy, your brother and you. I thought you were back on good terms.
I didn't delete Biscuits and Gravy. He's one of the ones that made the cut. But 27 others were eliminated because my family has just been embarrassing me. I want you to know, and then I'm going to get into more of Table of Three. I want you to know that my little niece drove up here from Atlanta, Georgia to see me. They ambushed us, much like I'm doing with you today. I'm out visiting Mall Bolin. You remember when I went out there because you tried to call me all day. I don't know what you was wanting to tell me, but oh yeah, you had work for me. You wanted me to do some quick work for you in an unbelievable turnaround that I did meet, by the way.
Yes.
And so that's why
I wouldn't call it work though.
And you were well, I do. And you were all upset because I wasn't taking your phone calls the first time you dialed. You called at 2, you called at 4, you called at 5, you called again at 7.
That's because you never leave the house, and I was convinced you were laying there dead, and
a pool of blood.
Dogs were probably eating you.
Yeah, well, they weren't. And I happened to be visiting Mall Bolin. And as a big special surprise, Mall Bolin hadn't seen Biscuits and Gravy, a.k.a. Timmy John Razor. She hadn't seen him in over 4 years. And being as Biscuits and I had patched things up, I had arranged for a surprise visit for him to be there and to see Mall Bolin first time in over 4 years. And she was thrilled. She was so happy. She was glad that her two boys had put things back together, put their differences aside, buried the hatchet, so to say. And I'll be damned if we don't get trumped by, you remember Little Ada Tater, don't you? Little Ada from down
Little Ada,
daughter of Janice.
Yes.
Well, I want you to know that Ada walks in after me and Biscuits do, and trumps our surprise because Mom hadn't seen her in about 4 or 5 years. So there's Ada Tater there, and then I'll be damned if they don't Skype Janice into the deal. You remember Janice. Well, Janice is back and 100 pounds heavier.
I was about to ask, what's Janice clocking in at these days?
I'd say about 440, and okay. she was sitting in a dark room. You remember the fearmonger?
I certainly do.
She was sitting in a dark room, and all you could see was the glow of the phone off her face. And people that hadn't heard of the fearmonger, had only heard stories about it, said Janice looks like the goddamn fearmonger. And I said, you know what she does? Janice, for crying out loud, turn a fucking light on. Well, she turns the light on, and then it took me about 3 seconds to beg her to turn that goddamn light off and to go back to what we had.
Janice does look better in the dark.
She does look a lot better in the dark. Any Mexican will tell you so. So we have the meeting, and the good folks at Hometown Pizza, one of my sponsors, had agreed to cater that meal. And Jimmy, I want you to know.
Wait a minute. You go to visit Mall Bolin in the old folks' home that you put her in.
Her request when I came is, Kenny, will you please bring me some good pasta? Because they don't have good pasta at the home.
You get it catered by Hometown Pizza.
I went to Hometown Pizza. The lady there, the one in charge, was aware of who I was. Not only was she a friend of mine on Facebook, but she had read my book, and she even knew Biscuits and Gravy. So when I told her what my intentions were, is that I wanted to feed about 20 or 30 elderly people there at the home. I didn't give her the age limit. And she agreed to that, and she gave us $104 worth of pasta and pizza to take to the old folks' home from Mall Bolin and all.
Now, wait a minute. At Hometown Pizza, $104 worth of pasta and pizza would feed the 7th Cavalry.
I would say it would feed 30 to 35. And that was
so basically you, Biscuits and Gravy, and Mall Bolin, you were pretty good, but everybody else was going to have to starve.
It was going to be a bit of a shoot fight. And well, Biscuits and Gravy was there for the first time in 4 years. Janice was on the phone, so she didn't eat much at all. So we get the $104 worth of food free. Well, I would say free of charge. It did cost me 2 bowling balls and an autographed book. So, you know,
and bowling balls are not what you go bowling with, which has 3 holes in it and weighs about 10 or 12 pounds.
No holes in my balls.
The new speakers you've got, the Bolin balls, the round speakers. That
the spherical speaker that come in white, yellow, black, which is Maya's favorite. She loves the black balls, pink, and then of course the number one seller, Bolin's blue balls. Those have been doing real well. As a matter of fact, Hometown Pizza wanted one blue ball, one pink ball, and that's we mix them up. That's what we did for them. They
must have looked odd though.
Yeah, it didn't look right not having two blue balls right there. It did just.
All right, can we get to the point here?
So the point is that my intentions were to feed 20, 25, 30 people at the old folks home. Well, when we came in and took over the kitchen, I had jokingly made a statement. Hey, this is our kitchen today. I know it's sneaking up on 5 o'clock, but we will have no old folks invading our party. I've got guests coming and we will be commandeering the kitchen today. Well, apparently I've got such command and such stroke and such respect out of all the businesses in LaGrange that the old folks home, and this is a shoot. I swear to God this happened. They got on the PA and they said, by the way, everybody today will be eating in their rooms. We have special guests here today, and they've requested that you not invade their privacy in the kitchen.
So these poor old people at the old folks' home that only get out once a day, and that's to walk down to the kitchen and the
not
commissary.
Walk. They normally get wheeled.
They're and have you've homebound them into their rooms for the sake of your private party.
It was said as a joke. I didn't think they would really keep 121 patients in their rooms at my request. But they did. And then I started thinking, well, you know what? If they're going to be kept in their rooms, then all this food I've got to feed 30 or 35 of mom's closest friends. Well, now we only got to divide it up about 6 ways instead of 30. So I want you to know that we all ate like kings. We ate like pigs. We were shoving pasta and pizza in our mouths at a record pace. And I want you to know that I still took home 2 full pans of pasta, the chicken fettuccine Alfredo, and a pan of the baked pasta, and we had a little bit of the spaghetti and meatballs left as well, along with about a half a pizza.
All right, was this your big major momentous announcement, the menu that you had at the old folks'
because
home?
I told you I was going to get back to a table of 3, but I wanted to tell you why you couldn't reach me that day. And oh, by the way, that's the new pit. Christopher found another pit, and
good God, that's all we need.
This one's name is Mozart. And Mozart weighs about 85 pounds. It's a blue pit, purebred blue pit. You hear him in the background. I apologize for that. What? Calm Mozart down. We'll feed him later. And Mozart, we just found him, a homeless man at McDonald's. He had hitchhiked from somewhere in northern Indiana to come down here to see his baby. This is all 100% a shoot. Everything I'm telling you is God's honest truth. This happened last night. Christopher goes to McDonald's to pick him up some late night snacks. We're getting ready to watch Fear the Walking Dead on delay because we missed it on Sunday. So he gets back and he's got this 85-pound blue pit with him. You think the head on Chocodile is huge. You think my head is huge. You should see the head on this damn dog. He's on Facebook right now, Brian. You could probably bring him up. We've got him posted. We're trying to find him a home because I've already got a lot of dogs, but right now he's living here. His name is Mozart.
Oh, for God's sake.
And the sweetest, most loving dog. But, well, he went to visit a friend of mine at Taco Bell last night because he was going to be this ain't funny, but I'm laughing. He was going to be a potential owner. And he had a sack full of Taco Bell for Mozart waiting on him when he got there. And he wanted Mozart. He wanted to take him. So we think we found him a home at 4. So we had to meet.
Wait a minute, you found the dog a home with a homeless man?
Yeah. Well, no. The homeless man gave Chris the dog crying because the only way that he could see his newborn baby, which is why he hitchhiked down here, the girlfriend said, well, the big blue pit's got to go. I don't want any dogs around my baby, especially a big blue pit. So he was crying his eyes out, and Chris said, well, that dog looks like he wants to come home with me. So he handed Chris the leash, and once again, a joke turned horrible on us. He handed Chris the leash, bawling his eyes out. He said, please give him a good home. I'd love to keep him, but I got to see my baby. And he's bawling his eyes out. And I swear to God, this all happened just early in the morning. So Chris shows up back here to watch Fear the Walking Dead.
So wait a minute. Your nitwit son goes to McDonald's to get late night snacks.
Not a nitwit.
To get late night snacks, meets a homeless man with a pit bull that he then takes for his very own. You don't know whether this dog has rabies or fleas or whatever the fuck.
He just brings the dog did not have rabies, no fleas, no ticks. And
I've never known for a homeless man to lie.
No, well, why would he? He got no home. He's got nothing to lose.
Well, you got me there with that logic.
Got you there. So Chris brings the pet home. We make some phone calls, and then Chris decides he's hungry again because Fear the Walking Dead was a 2 hour and 15-minute special. So he's hungry again. So now he wants to go to Taco Bell. Well, he goes to Taco Bell and picks up some more food. This makes the Bolin sound like a bunch of pigs, don't it? So he brings back a big sack of food, and he says, Dad, I just found Mozart at home. I said, well, how'd you do that? He says, the man in drive-thru is the assistant manager, and he had a fit over Mozart, and he wants me to bring him to him at 4:30 when he gets off work, 4:30 a.m. I said, well, okay, great. Sounds like we got him home. And we look him up on Facebook. Seems to be a quality guy. Chris goes back to his home. This is where it turns bad.
Wait a minute, you vetted the Taco Bell manager on Facebook.
Vetted him on Facebook. Seemed
the homeless man's pit bull.
Homeless man's pit bull.
Are you taking notes, Brian, on this?
Taco Bell, 4:30 in the morning.
Yes.
So me and Chris ride back down to Taco Bell. Chris wanted me to ride with him. So we go to Taco Bell here on Bardstown Road. And we ride over to the, what was the address there, Maya? The
Shelby and Ali.
Shelby and Ali. So we go to Shelby and Ali. And
that's not a good neighborhood at 4:30.
Well, let's not be burying the man's neighborhood here on Worldwide Radio. We go, he's got a nice 4-bedroom house with a backyard. Everything's lovely, other than the address it's at, because he's not on Cherokee Road, let's face it. So we go in there, and we got Mozart with us, and his little 14-year-old daughter has a pet rabbit. Well,
that doesn't sound like a good mixture.
Mozart has not shown an ounce of aggression towards anybody, any human. He's loved everybody. He has licked and kissed every human and everything he's met from the time we got him at around 10:30, 11 o'clock till now that we're delivering him to, we think, what's going to be his new home. Well, the manager brought home a shitload of Taco Bell, not only for me and Chris, but he's also got a shitload for the dog, all free of charge. Mozart loves fucking Taco Bell. But we found out there's one thing that Mozart likes better than Taco Bell.
Let me guess.
Yeah. That little girl, my hand to God, let that rabbit out of its cage. The rabbit darted at Mozart. Mozart took that as an attack. We were cleaning up blood 45 minutes later.
Oh, no.
The rabbit, he killed the wabbit.
He killed the wabbit.
He killed the wabbit.
And now he's dead?
The rabbit's dead. There's no, the rabbit did not survive this. We hauled that rabbit out in Kroger bags in pieces. There wasn't even any way the girl is fucking hysterical. She's losing her mind. She's grabbing a broom. She wants to beat Mozart. Mozart was just having dinner. That's just how he saw it. Any dog that sees a rabbit darting at him is either going to cower down and back down to the rabbit or eat the rabbit. Well, Mozart, if you saw the size of his head, you'd know why he ate the rabbit. He was hungry. So now we can't get Mozart. Needless to say, they didn't take the dog. So Mozart had to come back home with me.
So they lost the rabbit and didn't even take the dog.
No, they did not take the dog. It seemed to me they needed.
If that was a negative loss for the manager of the Taco Bell.
It seemed to me they needed another pet at that time, and that due to the process of elimination, that Mozart would have been the obvious pick. But they didn't opt for that option. The little girl said she never wanted to see that dog again, and as far as she's concerned, we could take him to the veterinarian and they could give him the pink juice tonight. But we're not going to do that because the only thing we've seen that Mozart don't like is rabbits, and that's just natural. What dog ever liked a fucking rabbit? It was her fucking fault for letting the goddamn rabbit out of the cage in front of a dog with the size of a head twice the size of mine. If that gives you an idea, Brian, you can look it up. He's all over Facebook. He's a hit. Everybody loves him.
We believe you.
We haven't found anybody to take him yet, but we do have, Maya has just shown me a piece of paper here. We have a potential home for Mozart, and guess where? Right next door to Clarksville Seafood. That'd work great. He could probably get all the fish they throw away. So we'll vet them later. I never knew the term vetting until Donald Trump started talking about it, but I know all about vetting now. So we're going to take care of this. So Mozart's back here with us. He slept with Chris for a few hours, came back to my bedroom, slept with me.
Wait a minute. This strange pit bull that a homeless man has given you, sight unseen, that has just murdered a pet rabbit and torn it into
with high recommendations.
You sleep with, for fuck's sake.
Well, Chris slept with him first, and when Chris slept 4 or 5 hours with him, and now
the dog is a whore on top of everything else, just sleeps indiscriminately with people.
Well, he did hump me, but he ain't having actual sex with anybody. He humped me, he humped Maya, He humped Chris. He tried to hump Two Cow. Two Cow didn't care for that too much. So he does have a humping problem. He ain't been fixed yet, but we understand that pits are fixed for free upon request. So if he needs to be fixed, we can get that taken care of for free. We do have the potential owner here. He's friends of one of the people that moved me in, Paul Black, over in Jeffersonville. That's only, for those of you that don't know, that's only 1.9 miles away from my back door once you cross the bridge. Yeah. So that's not too bad. So we may have a potential home for Mozart.
What is this program sponsored by the fucking animal shelter right now? Would you get to the point?
Well, that's breaking. Well, I was just giving you the point of what good folks the Bolins are. We found another dog. Probably he's had 5 owners. If Paul shows up here and picks the dog up today, that poor dog would have had 5 owners in the last 12 and a half hours. That is a lot of owners for a dog. 5 owners.
If the dog stopped eating members of the families that are prospective families that might adopt it, it might get a new home quicker.
If members of the family weren't fucking furry rabbits, he wouldn't eat them because he ain't ate anything that ain't been a rabbit yet other than Taco Bell. So that just have a sack of Taco Bell and don't let the rabbit out of the cage.
Don't let
We're going to warn Paul that later today.
I've said it 1,000,000 times. You can do whatever you want, but don't let the rabbit out of the cage.
Don't let the rabbit out of the cage. So that diverted me a little bit because now I want to get back to you.
Yeah, I wish you would because we're about done here. You've been rambling about this fucking homeless pit bull for 20 minutes.
Well, that was a great story. It ended well. Once we left the house.
Not well for the rabbit or the little girl that lost her beloved rabbit.
But Paul Black and his friend.
Little Hoppy.
The dog, you ain't going to fucking believe this. The rabbit's goddamn name was Hoppy. You son of a bitch. You ruined me again. Because I was going to tell you what the rabbit's name was. But no, I swear to God, the rabbit's name was Hoppy. No bullshit.
I don't know how I managed to figure that out.
I don't know. There's probably not a whole lot of names you can give a rabbit. So
I was going to go with Bugs, but I thought Hoppy,
Well, the kid's a little young. She might not even know who Bugs is.
Yeah.
So, or she'd have thought it was Bugsy McGraw, maybe. So, by the way, we have made a request for the people coming over to pick him up today. Being as I've swore I'll never set foot in Clarksville seafood again, we've got to deal with them that if they want the pit, they got to bring 5 boxes of Clarksville seafood with them. That's roughly what, about $50? So we might be getting $50 for the fish for this dog. So I think it's going to work out good for me in the end. Probably best the guy talk. What do you want, Clarksville seafood or fucking sack full of Taco Bell?
Well, I'd go with the Clarksville seafood.
I thought you might. So back to the table of 3. Jimmy, what the fuck were you thinking? You have badmouthed Bischoff since the day I've known you. You've never had a good word to say about him. And now I think the showdown is on. You're telling Bischoff what you think about him. You're telling him why you don't like him. I've got the popcorn cranking. I'm going, this shit's good. This is great.
That's part of what they edited out for the first 20 minutes or so. I was accusing him of screwing up the angle in WCW, et cetera. But then once I heard that he hated Shit Stain,
my buddy,
then I couldn't really get upset at the guy telling me that he hates the most disreputable, miserable piece of shit human being that ever walked the face of the earth. And also, they were going to edit it out if we cussed anyway. So we tried to find some positive ground. And
you can't cuss on this show?
Apparently not.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you why that's bullshit. Because that is no reason to buddy up with Bischoff. And I'm going to give you a perfect explanation. A couple of people I hate.
They also edit out, I believe, where I said the enemy of my enemy is my friend. But that's
by any chance, did you mention me? Did I get a mention?
No.
How the fuck can you do a table for 3, shoot 3 hours of footage and not mention your old buddy Kenny? How did you not do that?
You were a Hall of Fame mentionee. I figured that was.
Why not be a table of 3 mentionee? That would have been another T-shirt.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to deprive you of your business practices here.
You constantly fuck me over, but that's all right. We'll forget about that. So, the table of 3.
So, you've murdered the rabbit. We've got that.
I didn't murder the rabbit. Mozart murdered the rabbit.
You weren't happy because I was semi-civil to Bischoff. So, what's your point here?
Well, the point is that here it is. You got this chance to finally put him in his place, bury him for life. Prove that you're the man between you and Bischoff. And then the next thing I know, you're all but dropping to your knees and blowing him on fucking national worldwide television right after Monday Night Raw. God knows what the viewership was. I saw the hype for this thing. It was embarrassing.
Actually, it was the second most watched WWE Network show of the week behind only the pay-per-view or special or whatever they call those things these days.
Well, that ain't bad. That ain't bad. You should have beat them though. But and then it gets right to the very end, and I'm thinking, Cornette to get him here. Cornette to get him here.
Actually, that wasn't the end. I watched it, and
that wasn't the end.
Well, the end that they used was the end, but it was tacked on to the end of a conversation.
Well, this is where you embarrassed me, and I've had a line of embarrassment this week. You start blowing Bischoff. Oh, we both hate Russo. This, that, and you're not a bad guy, and you're just patting him on the back and rubbing his little head and touching his gray hair and pinching his cheeks and just doing everything.
The little fella doesn't get a lot of attention.
He probably don't, and I didn't want him to get any from you. So then it turns around, and then you say, well, don't you have anything nice to say about me? And I about threw up. You're begging for fucking compliments from goddamn Eric Bischoff right on worldwide TV. You got punked out, Jimmy. You embarrassed me. You were punked out by Bischoff, and that was your chance to put him in his place once and forever, unless you want to claim that the 18-minute show, the world's smallest table of three that ever aired, was edited and that you really did punk him out and they cut it out of the show. Now defend yourself.
I don't need to defend myself. There was a bit more pointed discussion that was not shown, but overall it was civil. And if I'd have had your homeless attack pit bull there, I could have set him loose on Eric. And
he only attacks rabbits.
Well, maybe Bischoff he had a goddamn enchilada from Taco Bell in his pocket. I don't know.
Oh shit! Well, that could have been ugly.
See, well, that could have been really entertaining.
Here's my final point, and then I'll move on to my big announcement.
I wish you would.
My final point is that you claim that you like Bischoff because you both hate Russo. All right, I can understand that, but that gives you no reason that you have to like Bischoff after all these years of hatred and disdain.
I didn't also say that I liked Bischoff. I said we bonded over a mutual hatred of. As Eric said, later on, I don't believe that we're going to be hanging out or having cheeseburgers or going to Christmas parties with each other. But
I doubt Eric eats cheeseburgers.
Well, he probably doesn't because he's one of those people.
He's one of those people.
Yeah,
my point is that my hatred for Tim Ash.
Oh God, here we go.
That is not lightened up any. My hatred for Mike Bucci. Well, guess who Mike?
Well, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Mike Bucci's.
I know you are. But guess who Mike Bucci hates as bad as we do? Tim Ash. Well, despises him because he fucked up his wedding. You couldn't fuck up a wedding worse than what Tim Ash did.
Well, I thought that, but Bucci fucked up his marriage. So.
Well, he did do that.
Yeah.
He didn't learn to fuck like a Canadian, I guess, is what happened there. That's an inside joke. So, speaking of inside.
Actually, it was inside. Bucci was outside the house at the time. He wasn't even in town, but nevertheless.
The Canadian was inside, but we won't say what the Canadian was inside.
Yeah.
So,
today.
Yeah. So they hate each other. Bucci hates Ash. I hate Ash. That don't make me like Bucci. I just hate them both. I think you could have easily hated both. But you chose one path, I would have chose another. So enough of that. I've made my point.
Well, there wouldn't have been enough room for me on the same path you chose.
If that Hendricks, who wasn't adding anything to the show whatsoever, had got up and left and added me, I think I could have guided you in the right direction.
He'll never live that Doc Hendricks down where he had to change his name just because they didn't want to call him by his own name. Nevertheless, go ahead.
Nevertheless. So now for the huge announcement.
Please.
As you know, I'm the only person in the history of, I'm now known as the king of podcast. You've seen it on my Facebook wall.
Uh-huh.
I'm the king of podcast. I'm the only
podcaster. As Lance Russell used to say, the self-proclaimed.
He did say that a lot. He said self-proclaimed podcaster almost every show. And as you know, I revealed on your show that I was the first ever 1 billion download podcaster over a course of 11 years. No embarrassment to you. You've ran a close second for a long time. You've done everything you could to catch me, but let's face it, you started podcasting 3 years after I did.
You also don't have any statistics whatsoever to back up your claim of 1 billion downloads, but go ahead.
That's what you proclaim. I proclaim otherwise. Now, 1 billion download man becomes very fucking popular. Then I become a WWE mentionee. Then I become Twitter verified. Well, let's face it, with a record low number for probably verification, I doubt there's many people out there verified that have in the neighborhood of 6,000 followers.
There actually are. It's a racket, and you can pay to get verified. I know people that are verified that have 400 followers.
But as you well know, I did not pay.
Well, I didn't either.
I got mine for free. So I bet you, as far as getting a free verification, I'm the lowest number follower.
I'll go with you there.
You go along with that?
Ever got verified for free that has as few followers as you did.
Thank you very much. I'll take that.
I don't know why you're thanking me for just saying that.
I think in a way you kind of backhand complimented me that I accomplished more with less than what most people do with more. And I think that's what you're trying to say. I'll speak it clearly.
All right.
Those that aren't picking it up.
That was it.
So I am in big time demand right now. Everybody's trying to get me to bring my show to their network. And you saw it. You remember when we did the show with Chris Jericho? Did you see how he dropped to his knees and slobbered, begging me to try to come to Podcast One, wanting me to be a part of the Chris Jericho network? It was embarrassing.
Actually, I didn't see that.
You didn't see it?
I didn't see it.
You were right there.
I must have been in the bathroom. I didn't see any.
You were in the bathroom a lot, but that's you. You don't have a very big bladder. So maybe
make your announcement.
But Jericho begged me to be on his network. And then, as we all know, Court Bauer has been doing everything he can short of blowing me. And if he did blow me, I wouldn't admit it here. But he's done everything he could to get me to be a part of MLW since my first ever appearance on your show in December of 2013. I resurrected your show to new levels. I was 4 of your top 5 rated shows, short of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And now they want me to be a part of the MLW network. Well, I'm sorry. Court Bauer and MLW can't afford me. I'm not going to come aboard. They're jumping off that ship over there like it's rats on the Titanic, man. And the Titanic's on fire and sinking into an iceberg. They can't touch me, Jimmy. They can't afford me. So you got Jericho begging me to be a part of Podcast One. You got Court Bauer begging me to be a part of MLW. And if he tells you anything else wise, he's a liar. I'll just tell you that right now. I've got famous people that write books that want me to write children's books for them because they think I can write a better children's book.
Children's books.
Because I got my finger in the youth of America and people are picking up on that. So I'm in big time demand. And Joe Cronin, where I'm at right now, I've been over there. We've done 2 shows, and I got a lot of complaints from my fans that he didn't get our second show up on Apple, on iTunes. There were other various outlets that he didn't get us on, and a lot of my fans got upset. Well, then a lot of people that I put into the wrestling business, as you know, I put 54 men into the WWE, including John Cena, Batista, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton. The names and the list goes on, and The Miz. The list just goes on and on. It's embarrassing.
I wouldn't take credit for that one if I were you.
Probably not. Probably shouldn't have done that. And Aaron the Idol Stevens, of course. And it's just embarrassing for all the good I've done to professional wrestling for me to get no more recognition in the WWE than I get, that I have to really take pride in being a mentionee instead of actually being in the Hall of Fame. So I got all these things going for me. Everything's going great. And then Joe Cronin forgets to get me up on iTunes. And that was embarrassing. And then
how dare he?
Then to top that off, he's all over, and all my wrestling friends contact me and said, Kenny, this is embarrassment. I don't know that you can stay with this man. He's on there. He bought a $500 seat to sit in the front row on SmackDown. He's begging for a job. He tags Triple H and Stephanie and Road Dogg for whatever fucking reason he does that. He tags them in every goddamn tweet he makes. He's begging for a job, and he shows up in the front row wanting to look like he's an announcer with JBL. He's sitting there wearing $5 worth of laundry and a hat on backwards. How many people has the WWE hired, Jimmy? You would know the answer to this. Shut that dog up. Crying out loud. Trying to do a goddamn show here, and that dog's crying back there. I'll put that dog down if you don't do something with him.
I'm about to cry, too. Would you please reveal this announcement?
So, all these people trying to get me to be a part of their network. It's obvious I can't stay with Joe Cronin anymore because
you can't because he wears his hat backwards.
He wears his hat
worth
backwards.
Of laundry.
He's got $5 worth of laundry, and he's begging for a job for the WWE, and that's not how you get a job. You know that. You know that better than anybody. So I've made a decision. I'm going to jump ship right here today, and I'm here to announce. And Court Bauer, you're going to love this. Can you feel what's coming, Jimmy? Can you feel what's coming?
I can't. No, I can't.
I think you can. I am announcing right here today that starting, well, we haven't really come up with a start date yet because we just pinned this down just like 30 seconds. I am going to be having a new co-host. You know who my new co-host is going to be, Jim?
I do not know this.
I know you don't. My new co-host is going to be joining him on his new network. Brian Last is going to be the new co-host of the Bolin Alley. I'm going to be joining Brian Last's network. We're going to be the #1 rated show. I'm sorry, Austin Idol. Your reign at the top is over. I'm coming to get you, son. It's going to be a friendly war, unlike what you and Jimmy just had. I am now going to be a part of Brian Last's network.
Oh,
Jimmy, you're not invited. You stay on this sinking ship. You stay on MLW. You stay over here with Court Bauer, and you're going to be the only show on this network before long, because everybody's going to follow me. They're going to come and join me. They want to be where winners are. They're going to join me and Brian Last, and we're going to form the greatest podcast network ever in the history of podcasts. We might even get the Honky Tonk Man to join us, because the Honky Tonk Man once said, if Kenny Bolin didn't invent podcast, he sure as hell perfected it. Well, I'd like to have Honky Tonk Man join us if he's interested in being in podcasting. Austin Idol, you beat Jimmy Cornette in West Virginia. Was it West Virginia, Jimmy?
Yeah, wait a minute. Do you mean to tell me, and I hear that sound you're piping in over there, Brian Last, is there any credibility to this whatsoever?
On behalf of myself and the board of directors of Arcadian Vanguard and the Super Podcast, family of podcasts, we would like to welcome the Star Maker and the Bolin Alley to our fine roster of shows. And actually, Kenny, I just received this email right here. I want to read this on the air live. Well, this is news to you. Okay. Congratulations, Brian, and welcome to the family. Kenny, if you had told me when I was main eventing against Jerry Lawler that the cool fan who everyone thought was Lawler's brother would be on the same podcast network as me, I wouldn't have believed it. I look forward to working with Louisville's favorite son, the one and only Star Maker, and that is signed by the Universal Heartthrob, Austin Idol.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, come on. Now, you guys, just... Brian, tell him it's stupid to get out of here.
Prince is going to be elated. Austin Idol was his favorite wrestler ever. He said that Austin Idol should have got the push that Hogan got, and now we're all going to be there. And you don't mind if the Prince joins us every now and then, do you?
We're all family now, Kenny.
Oh, hell. See, Jimmy would never let the Prince on. The Prince has been banned for 4 or 5 years, 6 years, however long it's been. And now me and the Prince are going to be joining you, and you are a family man. You understand what family's about. Me and you, this is going to be the greatest thing ever, Brian. I promise you. I'm not going to let you down. And it's just going to be friendly competition with me and Idol. There might even be some weeks he beats me. I don't know. I hope not, because that'll be a disappointment to me. But it'd be some friendly competition, not like with Jimmy, because I hear you got beaten in West Virginia, Jimmy. I didn't heard you talk much about that.
Oh, we talked about that earlier.
You ran that dick licker of yours off for countless weeks about what you was going to do to Idol, about how you were hot because he was getting was he getting 100 more than you? Is that what your bitch was?
Oh, Brian, I cannot believe that you, as busy a man as you are going to put up with this long, drawn-out tomfoolery of having Kenny Bolin and being the co-host of his podcast. But wait a minute, it won't take much time because Bolin's so lazy he only does one podcast a month.
Well, Brian, make the announcement. Make the announcement for me, Brian. Tell him.
Well, let me say a couple things here, Jim, and I think they're very important to say right here, right now. First of all, I have some news that Kenny may not be aware of. Kenny said he didn't know when the show is going to debut, but you know what?
I don't.
I have the perfect day for the show to debut.
What do you got?
On June 21st, it is the first day of summer. The summer of Bolin begins.
Hell yeah, man.
June 21st.
Sunshine, can you kick summer off with me? That's fucking great, man. That's an honor.
June 21st, June 21st, the longest day of the year, and it will be the longest podcast listening experience of the listeners' lives. It'll seem like years.
It's only going to be the longest day of the year for you because you realize your reign at whatever you call the top over there at MLW is coming to a crashing end. You realize that the place to be now is going to be over with Brian Last and his network. And I apologize, Brian. I haven't memorized the name of your network yet because all I know is
you'll have to spell it for him.
Between me, Brian Last, and Austin Idol, I don't know that we're going to need any more. The bar has been set awfully high. Anyone else that comes in is going to have to fight for 3rd, 4th, and 5th place. So we'll just make that announcement now. If you want to be 3rd, 4th, or 5th on our network, talk to Brian and see what kind of deal you want. Oh, by the way, Brian, I did get the check today. It's finally great that someone who offered a decent signing bonus came through with it. Promises were made over at Joe Cronin's network, and the only one lying in their pockets was Joe Cronin off my fame.
It sounds to me like Joe Cronin, whoever the fuck that may be, because I've never met this fucking guy, got fed up with you.
Will you stop it?
and decided to pull the plug on that sinking ship that you call a podcast, and now you've suckered my bosom buddy over here, Brian. You don't know what you're getting into.
You really think?
And I'll tell you what, Brian. Also, do not let the rabbit out of the cage anywhere around Bolin.
He knows better than to let the rabbit out of the cage. But
Kenny,
do you really think? Yes, go ahead.
I want to say something to you.
I'll interrupt Jimmy, but I won't do that to you. I got too much respect for you.
These weeks of negotiations have probably been the most pleasant negotiations I've ever been a part of. I never would have thought.
Weeks.
When we first started talking on this show, when I first became Jim's co-host.
When Jimmy was trying to alienate me and you remember what it was. He tried to make me and you hate each other. He's pitting us against each other.
They say that's what Vince McMahon does to his top talent.
I've heard that.
Like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, Vince was in the middle trying to get them to hate each other. And I see a similar pattern here. From
years of it.
Yeah, I see a couple of similar personalities, too.
Kenny?
Yes.
When we came to this agreement, when you extended that digital handshake to me.
About 45 minutes ago.
I gave you my word, and I'm going to say it right here on the air. Your show will always be on iTunes. It will always
there you go.
Be
That's
on
what
iTunes.
I want to hear. That's what I want to hear, is that you got my back. And sadly enough, and some people think this is dirty of me, Joe Cronin is finding out that he's out right now.
Well, I didn't know that.
I didn't bother to tell him. I didn't want anybody knowing. I didn't want anybody ruining this. That's why I never told you, Jimmy. Jimmy, I've looked you right in the eye recently, knowing what was going to happen, and I didn't tell you because I wanted to hear you murmur. I wanted to hear you whine, bitch, and cry and tell Brian what a fuck up he's doing.
Well, let me explain.
And you
something.
did.
I don't care.
I read your mind.
I don't care whether you sabotage this Joe Cronin guy or whoever. I'm surprised he put up with you that long, but I don't think that Brian knows fully what he's getting into. And Brian, he's just always keep your hand on your wallet, because if you stick your hand in your back pocket when Bolin's around, you'll be shaking hands with him.
He's already made a generous donation out of his wallet, a lot more than I made over at Joe Cronin's network after he promised me all this money and all these ways he was going to have advertising, sponsors, and the only one I saw getting any money was Joe Cronin. It wasn't me. Joe, we're cool. But this was a business decision, and I would have told you beforehand, but we really just put this thing together like minutes before I went on the air. The negotiations were long. They were detailed. Brian last had demands. I had demands. We come with a way to neutralize those things and come to an agreement. And Jimmy, don't be calling Brian when the show's over trying to jump ship over there at MLW and come on with us, because I don't think we need you. You just stay where you're at. We'll stay where we're at. And we'll add our numbers up, Jimmy, and we'll see. You think 6 million downloads is a lot that Bruce Pritchard gets. Wait till you see the numbers that me and Lass put up together.
Well, your numbers are
trying to instigate us and trying to make us hate each other, because we're buddies now, and there's nothing you can do about that. Just like me and Vince Russo. You couldn't part us, and you're not going to be able to part me and Brian.
All right, well, I tell you right now,
smoke.
Yeah, this is still my show, and I can part you right now because, Brian, as long as you're on this program, now that we've
don't you take that tone with my buddy, my new co-host.
Made this momentous announcement that took 45 minutes to get to. And I
had other stories to tell. I had to talk about the pitbull and rabbit.
I'm still calling the shots, and I think the best thing for you to do is hang up on your buddy Bolin over there, and he can continue blathering and running off at the mouth and having that verbal effluvia on his program.
Verbal effluvia?
At another day. Yeah. Look that up in your dictionary.
Oh, I will. And when I find out what you said, you're probably going to be in big trouble, you fucker.
Yeah, once you find out what I said, you ain't going to like it any.
Probably not.
Good day.
You did say good day.
Good day.